Right now is Connecticut Democratic Congressman Jim Himes and Pia Carusone, Executive Director for Americans for Responsible Solutions and a former aide to Congresswoman Gabby Giffords. It is nice to have you both here. Congressman, I want to start with you. Describe for us what the mood has been in Connecticut as we approach this one-year mark, what it means for not just the families, but the overall community of Sandy Hook, the elementary school of Newtown.
Sure. Well, obviously, for those of us that were particularly close to Newtown, this one-year anniversary is a heartbreaking reminder of an inconceivable day a year ago. And, of course, many of us know the families who, once again, are going to have to revisit what they went through a year ago. And for people like Pia and me, it's a frustrating thing. It's a frustrating thing that we haven't been able to go to those families, and not just those families, but to other victims, the 30,000 Americans that have died since then as a result of gun violence, and say, we made real and meaningful progress towards making for a safer United States. Right here in the United States Senate, where I'm standing right now, universal background checks, the idea that if you're going to exercise your Second Amendment rights, we're going to make sure you're not violent or a terrorist. But that couldn't get through the federal government, something supported by 90% of Americans. Right. It's a source of real frustration.
It seems there are a lot of common things where people are missing out on PI. I know your organization has just put out a new powerful PSA in honor of the Newtown victims. As someone who runs a gun reform, gun safety type of group, your relationship with Congressman Gabby Giffords helped inspire that for you. But for Americans and for people that are using the example of Gabby Giffords or the Aurora movie massacre or Newtown, if these major moments in our nation's history aren't a catalyst to move the needle, what is?
Well, that's the question everyone's been asking, but we feel very optimistic, to tell you the truth. I mean, we're disappointed that Congress wasn't able to address this year, but we're very hopeful. I think the national trends in this country show that Americans want their elected officials to address the growing problem of gun violence. They want someone to be able to listen to them, and Americans are saying we can own guns and we can be for responsible gun safety measures. They're not mutually exclusive. Mark and Gabby own guns, and here we are advocating for stronger laws. So
no, you make a great point there. They are gun rights supporters, and they have been very vocal about that. And you would think that someone that's gone through something as horrific as they have gone through and come out the other side of it might have a different interpretation of what our constitutional right means on that front. Congressman, as you know, Colorado is joining Connecticut as several other states that quickly passed stronger and smarter gun control laws since Newtown. The state Department of Public Safety says its new background checks law prevented 72 criminals from buying a gun. Why can even a modest measure on that front seem to pass through Congress, sir?
Well, I think it's really important that we talk about gun safety in a way that allows us to have conversations with people that if it becomes an emotionally overheated discussion about somebody taking away your constitutional rights, pretty soon you get to a place where you can't find common ground. The fact of the matter is, and part of the reason so frustrating, is that there is huge common ground around certain commonsensical things. We talked about checking everybody to make sure that they're not violent or a terrorist or a criminal prior to buying a weapon. This, of course, is supported by the vast majority of Americans. Things like saying, hey, you know what, I admire and support and will fight for your Second Amendment right, but that probably doesn't include the right to have a weapon which is really designed for the military to kill an awful lot of people very quickly. If you have the specific conversation in a rational and open way, now you get a reasonable dialogue going. Unfortunately, here in Washington, D.C., there are people who succeed by making sure that rational conversation never happens, that it's all about taking away a God-given constitutional right. And, of course, that's not a helpful conversation for anybody in this country.
I want to say thanks to both of you, Congressman Jim Himes of Connecticut, Pia Carusone, former aide to Congresswoman Gabby Giffords.